I'm Annie.
I'm Niket.
And I'm Dia. We would like to acknowledge the land that we meet on today as the traditional lands of the Ghana people, and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Ghana people as the custodians of the Adelaide region, and their cultural heritage beliefs is still as important to the living people today.
As a part of the protocol, the emergency exits are located next to us, which Nikki will guide us in case of an emergency. The women's and men's toilets are located in the 600 building for anyone needing to go. And don't worry, for anyone hungry, there are snacks and coffee at the back, while the sausages are outside near the cafeteria.
Before we begin, we would appreciate if you put your phones on silent to respect those coming up here to speak. Now we have Nikki to speak, Principal of Martin Senior College. Please welcome her.
Thank you, Annie. Welcome everyone to Martin Senior College, and welcome to our CyberShift Industry Night. In my own way, I also acknowledge the Ghana people, the elders and future generations as custodians of the land and their connection and spiritual belief in country. So in particular, a warm welcome to our students who are here tonight, our parents, and of course to our online community who will be joining us via the live stream. It's fantastic to be able to be here and see this event. I'm also very appreciative of the industry and department support in supporting tonight's event. And I would like to thank Dan Hughes, Chief Information Officer, Michael Lucic, Board Member, SA Skills Commission, Razika Pratap and Michelle Fern, Cyber Awareness and Education Lead from the department, Isaac Howdy, Senior Cyber Security Advisor, Andrew James Fortinet, and we also welcome Andrew Copus and Kylie Brockman. So this is an exciting student-led initiative, and all aspects of tonight have been co-designed and planned and prepared by the students, and they've been ably supported by Josh. Josh is the SACE cybersecurity teacher, and Thomas, who's worked with us from the department. And in particular also, the students have the opportunity here tonight to actually experience authentic learning in a real-world context, and also work very hard with capabilities-rich work. So they've actually been collaborating, communicating, working in teams, problem-solving, to be able to bring tonight's event to life for us. And we'll be hearing from experts in the field, and in a snapshot, it's sort of an introduction to the world of cyber, and we'll be hearing about online safety, careers and pathways, industry insights. But in particular, I want to thank Josh Earle, who is the Visual Arts Business and Technology Leader here, who has designed this cybersecurity course. It's a very innovative course, it's very future focused, and certainly our students have engaged in this course for several years, and we've been grateful for department and industry support along the way. And we're very proud of the course because it's very future focused, it's very current, it's very relevant, and we're continuously reviewing it according to student feedback, but also being responsive to the industry. So I welcome you again to CyberShift, and I'll hand back to Dia. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for the wonderful introduction. I would now like to welcome our first guest speaker, AJ. AJ is a highly renowned executive with a deep sales experience within the IT industry. AJ is currently a senior leader at Fortinet and has been a public sector account director ever since February 2023. For those of you who don't know, Fortinet is a global cybersecurity company that helps protect many businesses, governments, and organizations from online threats. Fortinet is one of the reasons why cybersecurity has become more effective today. Today, AJ will be talking a little bit about his upbringing and also about Fortinet. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to AJ.
Thank you very much, Dee. With that sort of introduction, I don't know if I need to do the presentation, but thank you, that was excellent. And look, what I'm here to do this evening is to really just give you a bit more idea and insight into the world of cyber. It's a continuously expanding and growing field from a career perspective, but it's continuous, I guess, threat for all of us. So what I did want to quickly do is break this for 1 second and just step over to here. So this essentially, I won't do it full screen, but what this is showing is the threats that we're detecting on a daily basis. So what you can sort of see from this is that no matter what minute, what time of the day, there are threats that are attacking people, but also organisations. So I think a lot of the times we sort of get to a point where it's sort of like, oh, it's not going to happen to us. It's going to be okay. We've got some security. But realistically, the attacks are happening. Even if you do have great security, the attacks are happening against your organisation. And so it's the constant involvement of how do you protect your organisation? How do you protect yourself? I know this morning I think I had 2 spam phishing emails and some smishing, what we call smishing on the SMS. So, we're constantly always under attack. So it's about being mindful, it's about understanding what those sort of attacks are, and hopefully through the next 10 minutes I'll give you a bit of an insight in regards to what the threat landscape looks like, a bit about myself, but also pathways that are available for students to get a career in cybersecurity. So now I'll try and go back to the presentation, take the web one. I think that's the right one. So cybersecurity, what is it? At the end of the day, it is a practice, especially from an organisational perspective, where we're trying to protect. You think about all the digital devices that are out there, the networks, which of course organisations are completely made up from, which is really just to protect. At the end of the day, it's to protect the data. Data is every organisation's and personal gold, essentially at the end of the day. So it's how do we make sure that is safe? When you think about all the breaches that have happened from Medibank to Optus to basically many companies, what are they after, right? They are after data. So it is very important on understanding, being security aware, but also making sure from an organisational perspective that we protect that type of environment. And when you think about your daily lives, I know I've got a car that's now connected to the internet. You've got phones, you've got probably fridges maybe, and this sort of stuff, right? So these are all attack vectors. Just recently in Las Vegas, a casino was hacked and breached through the fish tank, right? So don't think just because you've got a device that you think, oh, it's a toaster. If that toaster is connected, there's a threat. It's a threat vector, so where an attack could potentially happen. So just keep that in mind. So it's a good way to just remind yourself that, anything can be attacked, basically. So this is sort of a bit of a snapshot of what the cybersecurity sort of landscape looks like today. And when you look at what cybercrime, the actual damages, the monetary value by 2027 is 24 trillion. So that's a pretty big number, right? So when you think about 24 trillion, if I can sort of wrap it in a different way, when you think about global countries, they have a gross domestic product and they sort of rate themselves as to how much revenue they generate from a country point of view. From a cybercrime perspective, that would now be the 2nd largest country after the US. China comes 3rd, and then I'm trying to remember who was 4th, but you can see that this sort of dollars we're talking about is massive, okay? It's a very profitable business. You can see up there on the top right, for every, 4,000 invested, the bad guys get $1 million back, 2,500% ROI. I can tell you, in the sales profession, I would love that ROI. It'd be amazing. But you can certainly see that all these breaches that are happening, like it says, 86%. It's about money. And what we have seen year over year is that whilst ransomware is quite large, ransomware is about they generally breach an organisation, they will encrypt the data, they will then send the ransomware saying, hey, we won't give you the key to unencrypt that unless you pay this amount of money. Now, from a government and organisational perspective across Australia and the globe, they are suggesting that you do not pay that ransomware. So we've seen a shift to extortion. So extortion is more about they've still got this data, but how do we extort the individuals within those organisations? And they can start doing that by the data they've got, but also leveraging other data pools that are out there. When you can think about all the different breaches that have happened, which are collecting your passwords, your email address, potentially your driver's licence, your date of birth, you put all that together, you've got a pretty good profile, right, to start selling that sort of information. So the industry for the cybercrime, for the bad actors, is massive. They're not going away. Hence, this is a environment where we need more skills, resources, and of course people to join the good fight. So, with the threat landscape, put this up there. It's a bit, there's lots of arrows and things like this, but what it's depicting is this is a landscape for the bad actors. So they are actually very organised, bad organisations. So many of them have HR departments. They've got sales departments. They're actually licensing their ransomware. So it's called ransomware as a service, and there's many other as a services that they create. And this is all generating that $1 trillion of damages that they're after. So it is a very complex system. And behind this, there's lots of people in different roles. There's money mules where they'll wash the money through BitCurrent sites and Bitcoin sites and so forth. But it's very complex, it's very well thought out, and there's a lot of transactions that are happening through here and people to actually make, these attacks happen. So it's sort of, when you think sometimes it's just, it's one person sending me an email from somewhere. Well, no, there's this massive organisations behind these threats, which we need to try and keep on top of. So hence it is an exciting field because we get to try and beat the baddies, right? So it's a bit of a cat and mouse, but it's definitely, and just to have that depth of knowledge that these are the types of layouts, the complexity of these organisations that they have. 40net, yes, is a global cybersecurity company. We do have our 40Guard Labs. 40Guard Labs is a global threat intelligence and analysis organisation. You can jump on our 40Guard Labs site. We do have threat actor research. We've done these Pokemon type cards to depict each of the different groups. So you can actually click on those cards and find out more about what these groups do, what attacks they've done, who they've attacked, etc. So it's quite a reasonable, raft of information that we provide to try and help people understand who these actors are and what they're trying to do. We also have a lot of alliances, and because we can't do it alone. Even though we're global, we're leading one of the leading cybersecurity companies, it's about public-private partnerships. So hence, like with state government and so forth, and other organisations, and you can see here, working with many organisations across the globe, Interpol, WEF, etc., where we actually trade, well not trade, but pass information between our organisations so that we have the best raft of threat intelligence to be able to stop all these bad actors. This has actually just been released. This was Operation Serengeti 2.0. Was between May and July this year, so this has just been released on the web. You could look it up. We were heavily involved in Operation Serengeti globally, and you can sort of see there the amount of money that this operation, or these bad actors, actually generated was $485 million of USD that they've taken from people. But we had 1,209 arrests. What was interesting was that part of this, they actually took down 45 power substations. So not just, power supplies, these are power substations that the bad actors have actually manufactured, put in place, to then power all the computers that they're using to generate all these threats. So they're actually now repurposing all those 45 power stations and putting them in Angora to be able to provide power to communities that don't have them. So which is a great outcome, but obviously you can see the depth that these bad actors actually go to try and create, their environment, because they need power, they don't want to pay for it. And so, they create these illegal power stations and so forth. So it's actually a really good read. So if you do have a bit of time, jump in and have a look at it, because it does go into detail about, how they were taken down, basically, and the details of all that. So it's pretty exciting. And I mean, that's why it's a fantastic career choice, because you could be part of some of those organisations that help take down these bad actors. So 40net mentioned, yes, global cybersecurity company. The main part of this slide really is the different variants of roles that we have across the company. And when you think about a cybersecurity company, there's probably a good 100 different roles that are involved with a company of our size, and they vary. It could be like in the sales side of things, you can have sales specialists, you can have pre-sales solution architects. There's a massive amount of roles. So each one of those little components of the pie, there's probably 3 to 5 roles in each one of those. So we've got 14,800 staff globally, and always we're continually investing in new staff. What's interesting from an ICT more global perspective across other companies, which I've worked for Microsoft and Cisco, a lot of them still are transitioning. Each year they transition and probably have a bit of a merger of people and culling of people and so forth. But in cybersecurity, there isn't really a cybersecurity company that's ever had a redundancy, as such, in regards to where they're making a reasonable amount of people redundant. So that's just really emphasising that if you get into cybersecurity, it's a solid career choice. You're not going to be sitting there wondering if your job's safe or not. That's a very safe platform because, as you've seen, the amount trillions of dollars that are being generated by these bad actors, we need a lot more people to be able to, circumvent that. So certainly, again, a great place to get into. This is just a market, so basically just sort of saying that there's billions of dollars that is being generated by cybersecurity. So again, it's around the actual securityness of choosing this as a career choice. The market that we are actually, heading into, and this is to 2027, there's billions of dollars being spent by organisations because they have to, because of the bad actors. The bad actors are now using AI. They're, weaponising things in 4.5 days, which used to take 2 weeks. So when they do something, we've got to do something, or we try and do it first, etc. But there's a lot of investment, both in R&D from ourselves, but also organisations to innovate, to really try and uplift their cybersecurity profile to be able to stop these bad actors. So that's sort of hopefully given you a bit of an insight to cybersecurity today, like what the landscape looks like from a threat actor perspective. So I think it's just important, to remember that no matter what device you're on, no matter what's connected, it's a threat vector, right? So people can actually attack that device. So just always sort of keep it in mind. So hence there's always a few areas that you can do to, keep yourself safe, patching, unique passwords, etc. And I think, do you cover that sort of? Yeah, okay. But there is things you can do to do that. So now from a career point of view, what I'd say, and especially from when you think about your career, so for myself, started a fair while ago, probably about 32 years ago, and started as a technician. So then from there went into sales, went into management, now an individual contributor, but worked in teams. But over that course, because there's a technical aspect, management aspect and sales aspect, that's 3 careers, but it's all wrapped in ICT. So it's not just the fact that it might be something completely different you come from to cybersecurity. You can be involved in ICT and jump around. There's the opportunity to change from one role to another, because there's just inside cyber, there's a huge amount of roles. Just think about the rest of ICT. There's a massive amount of roles. So the main thing I would, talk about is just make a start. So a lot of that's about passion. What are you passionate about? Is it game design? Is it coding? Is it threat hunting? You might be sitting there and looking at threats and so forth already. I mean, if there's something that you're passionate about, could be building PCs, just make that start. And there's different ways that you can do that, which I'll go through shortly. So from a landscape of organisational perspective, just to sort of reinforce the fact that we do need more people in cyber, when you look at the Australian Cybersecurity Growth Network, they're suggesting 17,000 people will be required by the end of next year. CyberCX is saying 36,000. CyberCX is a local Australian consultancy that just got acquired by Accenture for $1 billion. So, lucky. There's lots of areas, I guess, in the fact that we do need more people. Breaches are generally because of human error. And that human error normally comes about because there's lack of resource. Probably can all identify in the fact that, you've got so much to do, you do it, then start doing it a bit quicker because you haven't got the time to do it properly, and that's when mistakes happen. So we need a lot more resource to be able to make sure that we're being effective in the roles that we do on a daily basis. Jobs in cybersecurity, if you go into Seek, type in cybersecurity, I think there's now 73. So, there is, like I said, a huge amount of different roles that are available. Obviously, a lot of those roles require time. Hence, it's make a start, find your passion, make a start. Once you make a start, you'll actually then start getting exposed to different roles, which then you may well change your future direction. Because right now you might be thinking, yes, a threat hunter, but once you start doing something, even if it's something like support desk, you get exposure to that and you might go, you know what, actually I want to be in sales or something, right? So generally it's about making the start so you can get that exposure and understanding of the different roles which are available. What do I do? So yes, on the sales side of things, generally working with organisations. So I look after state government, local government, utilities and universities, so which is a broad raft of organisations here in South Australia. It's meeting with those individuals, executives, the IT managers, infrastructure, understanding what their challenges are. Can Fortinet help? Maybe, yes, no, but that's part of the discussions. Then it's being a bit of a conductor, so we have a huge raft of people within our organisation and also our partners. So we actually have a partner sort of channel distributorship sort of process, and so we've got 25 active partners here in South Australia, over 1,000 active customers. Our customers have people that are certified in our technology, so do our partners. So it's sort of orchestrating a lot of that to be able to help from an outcome perspective for organisations to make sure that they're protected. All right, and I'm just being told to wrap up, so apologies taking a bit longer. This is quite important. Skills, yes. You know, there's a lot of different skills and traits we look for. Hopefully this deck would be probably provided at the end as well, which will be great because that's important. You know, a lot of it's also about communication, so being able to communicate effectively, analytics, etc. Lots of different pathways. We have an academic partner program, etc., which is Flinders University, Adelaide University, TAFE SA, Thebarton Secondary College, and more, which we're looking to do. But there is a lot of pathways you can take in regards to getting the certifications. All our certifications, which are globally recognised and awarded, are all available online for free. So you can actually go and do those self-paced if you like, but we can also provide that in a lectured and training sort of manner. And of course, they do that through the academic partner program as well. And so basically, without more to do, that is me. Hopefully it's sort of given you a little snapshot of the threat landscape and you know, what it looks like and what the career prospects are as well. So yes, thank you again. Thank you to Martin. Thank you to everybody that's involved, the students, etc., because this is fantastic. Like I said, there's 37,000 jobs up for picking by the end of next year. Hope to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ, for sharing the valuable insights on the scope of cyber and defense. I would now like to welcome our next speaker, Isaac Hurdy, who works as a senior cybersecurity advisor with the Department of Treasury and Finance here in South Australia. In his role, Isaac works across government to help departments strengthen their cybersecurity. His focus is on building resilience, supporting teams, and making sure people are equipped to handle the challenges for today's digital world. Today we'll be sharing his story and his advice for students interested in the cyber industry. Please welcome Isaac Hurdy.
All right, am I okay to do this a little bit? Can I break something? All right, no, all good. What's my name? Oh, it's a little bit. Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to have a background there, but it's all good. I think we can still read that, and that's fine. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone here, for joining us today. Great to see so many people in person, and also appreciate those people joining us online. I've already been introed, but just for those who don't know me, my name is Isaac, one of the senior cybersecurity advisors at OCIO. And I was asked to talk here today, and I've gone down a bit of a different approach from AJ, and just a bit more of a narcissistic approach, and just talking about my story and, you know, how I got into cyber and sort of my journey. And I'm not saying that my journey was the right way. I'm not saying it's the wrong way. I'm just sharing my experience of getting into the industry, and take from that what you will. Hopefully it actually shows up. Okay, cool. There we go. So my timeline into cybersecurity. First, you can see I went to school. I went to school at Cedar College, not too far from here, from reception to year 12. I found out at a quite young age that I was pretty good at IT, and I think that's what made me enjoy it, something that I was good at, made me passionate about it. And but towards later into high school, I didn't want to seem like a nerd. I was probably hanging around the wrong people, but so I let my grades drop a little bit because I didn't want to seem like a nerd. I was probably hanging around the wrong people, but that's fine. You know, I didn't want to go to university. I knew I didn't want to keep studying. I didn't really like school. I didn't really enjoy it. Sorry, principal. And I honestly wanted to take a gap year. And that did not go down very well with my strict traditional Italian mother when I told her I wanted to
go on a gap year to the Bahamas to find myself. Did not really go down very well. And that led me to feel quite aimless. And aimlessness and anxiety is probably a very common feeling that you feel when you're about to graduate high school. I felt very aimless, not because I didn't know what to do, it's because I had a lot of different options. Like I could have done a trade, I could have done an internship, I could have gone to university, I could have worked at the bakery, I could have worked at McDonald's. Like I had options there, but I just didn't know which option to go down. But I took a risk straight out of school. I took a traineeship and learned on the job and found out that that's what I am good at. I'm good at learning in deep waters, getting thrown in the pool and just learning how to swim on my own. And that was my learning style. You know, everyone's got a different learning style, but for me, that's what I enjoy the most and what I am, the way I learn best, right? Yeah, got pushed way out of my comfort zone for those 2 years. Got forced to do a lot of public speaking straight out of school in front of corporate people, which like made me really scared. Now it's a little bit less scary, still is scary though. But I also gained a lot of mentors from that. I still keep in contact with the mentors from my traineeship. I did my traineeship for 2 years, still in contact with them, talk to them very often about, you know, my career path, my next move and what I should do. So gaining a mentor in that traineeship was very key for me and helped me quite a lot in my journey into cyber. So I did that traineeship at the Department of State Development, and I did that for 2 years, and my mentor, well, my boss was above me, and then he went off to Sydney to do his own thing, and then towards the end of my traineeship, they must have liked me, so they said, hey, Isaac, do you want to go for your old boss's role? And I was like, yes, sure, why not? Take another risk, why not? And interviewed for that and landed that. And then I was there for another year as a cyber officer, doing a bit more technical, sort of hacky sort of stuff. I was the only cyber person there, so pretty much was my own environment to look after, which was quite fun. And again, being thrown in those deep waters, was able to learn a lot. And then sort of hit a ceiling there, capped out my learning opportunities and my growth there, and decided to go over to OCIO, which is so DTF, and now a senior cybersecurity advisor, and here I am now. What I didn't do, I didn't go to university. I'm not anti-uni, but I didn't go to university. You don't have to go to university if you don't want to. University wasn't for me. I hate saying that because a lot of people say that, but it really wasn't for me. I didn't like studying. I saw opportunity of a traineeship. I took a risk and went for it and applied and got it. So I didn't spend money on a random hype course. A lot of the students here probably see on TikTok or Instagram Reels these people standing in front of a Lamborghini saying, buy my course and you can land a 6-figure job. Like, I didn't do any of that. I did not buy any course. There's obviously great courses and certifications out there, like AJ mentioned with Fortinet, but those hype courses, I did not take any of those because they are useless. I didn't hide from opportunities. Every time I was faced with the opportunity, I said yes. That was one of the things that the key things that I held on to in my journey was just saying yes to things, even if it was like stuff like this. I had to say yes to this. Necessarily, could be doing something else, could be watching Netflix right now, but I said yes to this. Yeah, didn't hide from opportunities, and didn't let very average grades decide my future. Like I said before, I didn't really have the best grades because I didn't really try in school, to be honest. But I didn't let that define going for things. I didn't wait for the perfect opportunity. I didn't wait for the perfect role to come up. Like I said, I felt quite aimless out of school. There was a lot of different options I could have taken. I didn't wait for the perfect one. I went for it. I got my foot in the door. Like AJ was saying, like just follow your passion, get your foot in the door, and then you can move sideways. It's quite easy to move sideways once you're in. No, didn't wait till I felt ready. Every job I've had, every opportunity I've gone for, I didn't feel ready. I didn't say, oh, I'm ready to take this on. Like I said, I learn best when, I'm thrown in deep waters, and learning on the job is something that I'm quite good at. So I did not wait till I felt ready. What I do, one of the main things, a part of my job is cybersecurity exercises. A lot of you might not know what that is, but pretty much what it is, to put it in simple terms, is a simulated incident. Right, so a recent one that we ran was at the State Emergency Centre, which is a centre somewhere in a basement in the city, where if there is either terrorist attack or if there is a massive hack or incident or emergency, all the different agencies come into that room and they sit in that room and they go around the table and they say, what are you doing, what are you doing? And they work together to resolve the incident, right? It's almost like a movie, you know, when there's an alien invasion and they all come together, right? And it's quite cool. So we simulated that incident with a terrorist attack. We had all the different agency representatives come in there, and then they didn't know what the scenario is going to be. So we went, hey, look, this person's just hacked this. What do you do? Go. And then they have to answer. They don't actually have to do like any hands-on stuff, but they just have to answer, we'll do this, we'll do this. And it gets pretty deep. You get into like how are you addressing the media? How are you, you know, addressing your whole team? How are you addressing the well-being of your staff? And it looks a little bit, I think that's the Sydney State Emergency Centre. It looks pretty cool. It kind of looks like a movie, hey? It's pretty cool. But the Adelaide one, that's not the Adelaide one, but it looks quite similar to that. I couldn't find any pictures of the Adelaide one, but it looks similar to that. And everyone sits around the table from all the different agencies, and they all sit there in their suit and ties and say, oh, we're doing this, and it's all like, you know, it's quite intimidating. Everybody puts their pants on the same way in the morning. That's what I always say. Something else I do is phishing emails, quite similar to the simulated incidents in the with the exercises. I do these simulated phishing exercises, so send out fake emails that look like phishing emails to government employees, and then if they click it, we get a result if they've clicked it, and then we get also a result if they've clicked it, entered their credentials, if they've downloaded the attachment. Really gives us a baseline of where the awareness and training is at for all staff. So that's a big part of my job, is doing those simulated phishing, and it's quite fun to customize those emails to whatever I want really, and change the wording in them, and you know, change who the sender is, and you know, mess around with it. What I do a lot of public speaking. Probably don't believe it because I'm not great at it, but I'm trying. But yeah, been doing it for 4 years, and still every time it is quite nerve-wracking. I never feel ready when I go up here. But I always say yes to the opportunity. All right. Something else I do is a lot of strategy work, a lot of advice work. A lot of agencies will come to us, and maybe if they're travelling overseas, that's my job to give them their advice of, you know, what you should be doing when you're overseas. Like if they're going to a high-risk country, giving them advice of what exactly they should be doing when they're over there, how to be safe when they're over there. Also handing out advice if someone's spinning up a new environment or spinning up a new architecture, being able to provide that advice on how to do that in the most secure way possible. So a lot of my work is quite non-technical, right? At no point I'm sitting in a basement with a hoodie on, writing code, doing all hacky stuff. There is people that do that, but there's also a lot that don't. I'm one of those people that don't. I'm not good at that stuff. So I stick to the more non-technical stuff. So there is that opportunity out there. You know, how many roles was it? 73 roles out there. You know, not all of them are very hacky roles. There is a lot of roles like mine who are very non-technical. So what you should do. So I've broken this down into 2 sections. First, the mindset. Be willing to learn and grow. That's not just be willing to learn and grow straight out of school. That's throughout your whole entire career. People are always, you know, there's always opportunity to grow, always opportunity to do better, get better, and having that mindset of being open to do better is really key in cyber. Get uncomfortable. Like I said, I've said it 1,000 times, but I never felt ready to do anything. took advantage of opportunities, taking risks, super important. And do things that scare you, that kind of talks to the get uncomfortable part. But at no point in my career was, I was ready to do anything, or I was, I've always been nervous, always been, anxious with my career. And actions, probably such a key thing that I wish I did more when I first got into cyber was build my portfolio. And you don't have to have a job to do that. You can do that in your own time. You can do that, on your, I'm getting told to hurry up, so I'll wrap up soon. You can do that on your home network. Like if you went into a job interview for an entry-level role with, with no experience, it's really going to stand out if you say that you've done Hack the Box or CTFs, or if you've done a risk assessment on your home network, and you write in your resume, like, this is what I did, and this is how I did it, this is what I sold from it, and it's going to be able to show that you have that passion outside of just working, right? And that's going to show that you've got those problem-solving skills and that you're keen to work and you are willing to learn. Find a mentor, super important. There's many opportunities out there. I know AFP have opportunities to get mentors through the boot camp. It's a _boot camp. Getting mentors is really key early on in your career. Being able to talk to them one-on-one, getting that advice from them is going to be super, super important. And take advantage of opportunities. Take advantage of things like this. You've got so many different professionals at the front here. It would be a waste of an opportunity to just quickly run out the door tonight and not talk to anyone. And how great is this opportunity to talk to people that are in the industry, get your face out there, ask questions, and just say yes to things. That's probably my key advice. Say yes to things and don't wait till you feel ready. So that's it.
Thank you, Isaac. Have you ever wondered how jobs in the cyber field really work and how critical it is in everyone's life? Well, you are going to love our next speakers. Zuka and Michelle are both highly knowledgeable in cybersecurity awareness, education, and well-being. They support all schools in the Department for Education, and both have worked in schools previously, as Rosika is a teacher and Michelle works as an admin staff. Please welcome Rosika Pratap and Michelle Fern.
That's a huge drop. Never mind, luckily we're same height. Awesome. Thank you for having us. Being that this is a career evening, we'll start off quickly with our career pathways. I was a teacher for 20 years, then pivoted and worked in the department in Swift as a wellbeing, advisor in that Swift portal. And then now I'm working in cybersecurity, in cyber awareness and wellbeing. I'm very different to Isaac. I am your traditional geek. I love learning and have just also, finished a psychology degree because I'm fascinated with cyber psychology. So that's just really not to show off, but more to say at any point in your career, you can pivot, you can pick up something new and continue your learning, whatever that looks like for you.
And I'm Michelle. I have worked in operations of a school as well as financial audit and risk, auditing over 300 schools with our team every year, and then moved into IT just to help Rosika with Swift, and we moved into cyber awareness.
Okay, so this presentation, we came out and spoke to the students a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and really wanted to understand what it is that they wanted from the presentation. So what we're going to do, without giving too much away, is just really jump into it. We've got a few slides that are really some posts, reels and memes that keep us entertained and connected online. Anyone notice Sushi Mango? I love them. Anyone recognise that person? That guy? Yeah.
So like Rosika said, we came out a couple of weeks ago and we spoke to some of the students to hear about some of the things that they wanted us to talk about. We talked about their digital footprints and if they understood why we have a social media ban or delay, and cyber wellbeing.
Good. Yep. Okay, so we're going to jump right into this. The next 4 slides are looking at some posts. I'm going to frame it with there is some audience participation in this because part of our role is getting out to schools, talking to staff, talking to students, talking to families and community. Oh no, it says the battery is low, running low on your PC. This PC? Should we plug it in? It needs power. Needs caffeine.
Keep going, I hope it doesn't die before we get that.
Let's keep going.
We're getting hacked.
It's all part of the evening. All right, well, hopefully, so this is our very first post, which is that new car feel. We know lots of people that go on socials and post. So just want you to have a watch it.
What is it? It's time, guys. We're getting our family vehicle back, finally. The kids have no idea. I'm actually so excited filming this for them and just to catch their reaction on camera. Our big family car broke down on us back in February, so it's been 5 months since we've all got to ride together and do something fun. So it being summer and all, honestly, there's no other better time. So basically what I'm trying to say is just a pre-warning. You're gonna be seeing a lot of us. Just excited. I'm gonna be filming everywhere we go, even just the grocery store. Come on, Silly, it's over here. We really didn't know where this person showed up with our car. We were at the front, the middle. They ended up being right behind us. What is it?
So we get the point. It goes for about 1.5 minutes. A couple of questions up there that I want you to consider is what do you think this mum was wanting you to see compared to what does this post actually show us? And this is where the online safety element comes in.
What is it?
So the hidden details. Anyone want to point out what you saw?
The license plate.
License plate, fantastic. There was a couple of others?
Home address. Yeah, the house.
The house, brilliant. Awesome, so the number plate is visible. We zoomed in, and by we, me, middle-aged mum, without any technical knowledge, went in and just cropped pictures and put it into Google search, and was able to see that, you know, it's from Washington. There's a dealership detail, so that you can zoom in. It's in America, obviously, based on that. Got there, did you notice the letterbox? I didn't actually know what this blue thing was until I Google searched it as well, the image searched it, and that's your Amazon delivery van, so it gives you clues into the location. The concerning ones, you know, slightly were around the family insights. Concerning for me because I went and looked at a couple of other videos from this person as well. And in that you were able to see, you know, the children's ages, their names, more details were shared around that as well.
So you can also see in the next picture, you can see their physical security in their home. It looks like their door is open to their garage. Their kids are just hanging out there. More than the pictures that we can see, we can also hear her describing that we went around the back of our house. Now we're going around the front of our house, and here are your names, your details. We can also analyze their financial situation because she says in the video that the car came quite quickly, so it's quite close to home, and they got approved for finance really quickly. So that's a good hint at a threat actor would take that information and be able to use it.
So did you notice anything else that might be of concern? So for me, can never leave my well-being hat behind. The image of a toy. So from a child safety perspective, that is a concern because a predator could potentially, buy that toy to lure that child because there's a lot of information around that toy. And Michelle, when she was watching it, we talked about how that child held on to that toy throughout the entire video. I love that. I heard a wow. So the next one, I have teenagers in my house. They love doing the reels and the videos. My rule at my home is you're not allowed to post, but you can create as many as you want. And that's just the rule that we have. So I'll just play this one. Goes for 15, 16 seconds. So if you've got teens, you see these a lot. I don't have a TikTok account, but I was able to view this as a public. It's a nice song, but we'll skip it. Any issues with doing a TikTok in a classroom? Is there any glaring issues that you can call out?
You can see what school they're from.
Perfect. It's exactly what I did. Again, not technical at all, but I was able to zoom in, crop the logo, and able to find out exactly what school this is from.
This is also privacy concerns. There you can see kids in the back of the video walking away from camera, so they obviously don't want to be filmed, and I assume don't want to consent to being online. I assume that they wouldn't have realised that they would be on our presentation today while they were filming it.
So the next couple are just your quick posts, so still pictures. Teenagers, they love to share stuff online. The tricky thing is when I was a teenager, we just had, the camera photos we took and it took 2 weeks to develop and by then you forgot about it and you didn't post it. However, for our children nowadays, it's instant. So a couple of 3 questions to consider as they come up. And the last one really is there around, would you want this online in 5 years' time as well? And then this one here is an emotional vent. So a couple of different posts here that we're looking at, similar questions. The first question there is around framing it as, it just completely died. So the battery didn't work.
I don't know if it's actually something.
Will be 10 seconds. Nothing else, you need to be able to pivot in Cyber. So basically with that post, it was really about, I shared that with some professionals, some educators and some colleagues back in office, and we talked about would you hire these people based on the post, because it was really talking about, I hate my job, I hate my boss. There was also some content on there about I hate my teacher. There's a difference between what you post and the reason you post it versus what's actually being perceived and whether you'd want that to be still the case for you in 5 years' time. Oh, something came on.
So just while that's coming back up, we just want you to have a think about all the little bits of information that you put online is really like a message in a bottle of developing your digital footprint or your digital tattoo, because it's very hard to get rid of it.
We're just getting the password. Maybe. Is Maha here? Sorry, it's asking for your password. Yay, well done. So we were just saying before that there is a significant difference between what you're actually sharing and the message that is being received. So the next 3 slides really unpacks, you know, the insights that you're letting in to who you are. This is why I'm fascinated with cyber psychology, and that is an actual element, something that you can study at uni. So about your identity, there's, you know, these are the things that you might be saying based on your posts, but how others see you could include, yes, you are funny, you're laid back, depending on your post, you're unmotivated, or like it says at the bottom there, or relatable depending on your post, depending on the context.
And other things that you post, you may be emotional, stressed, unhappy, they could come off as authentic or stressed or unhappy or even disrespectful. And we'll post, if we post with emotion, it's very hard to have clarity over what you're doing and how others may take those.
And there's also insights around your values and beliefs as well. So your posts, you know, you might be a luxury. When you really need to be mindful that there is a little yin yang. Really new, but what I think we will do is finish off perhaps with this video. We're going to talk about the social media ban, which does come in on December 10th. In all of the comms and newsletters and stuff that is coming out from the E-Safety Commissioner's website, it's not a ban, it's a delay. It's delaying your young people having an account until they're 16 years old. There was a lot of research and I guess insight that went into that. And we loved when we came out to the students that even though it doesn't affect them, they did want to understand why the delay or the ban is in place, because they are going to be the people that will be supporting and helping our young people in the next few years. Sorry, Michelle, we'll play this video. And then
It's my new heels for graduation.
And that's just a video where it is social engineering by professionals that AJ was talking about, and that's how that happens. And we'll just finish off with how to share smart. So if nothing else, key takeaway, think. Is it true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, or kind? Thank you.
Thank you, Razika and Michelle, for sharing your journey and insights with us. I would now like to welcome Dan Hughes, Chief Information Officer at the Department for Education here in South Australia, to introduce our panel. Dan has over 15 years of experience working in the government IC, leading projects that have modernized systems and improved services for schools right across the state. Today, he'll be guiding us through our panel discussion and sharing his experience in leading digital change and teamwork. Please welcome Dan.
So look, thank you so much for having me here tonight. Really appreciate the invitation. And I'm standing in front of a speaker, that's why I'm speaking back. Let me go over here. This is really important for me, all right? So in terms of my role and what I do, so I look after the Department for Education's ICT services. All right, so there's about 950 sites in our system, all right? So your kids, we look after all of our preschools. So that whole digital footprint that we've been talking about tonight ultimately sits on my shoulders in terms of what that means in our schooling system, all right? So hearing from the speakers tonight has been really important because their journeys really are how we're trying to attract people into not only the education department, but clearly into the industry more broadly, all right? Just in terms of my journey, for those who don't know me, I started my career in IT as a trainee. I didn't go to university either, so hearing from Isaac was really quite inspiring because my path has been quite similar. And the whole notion of the types of skills that we desire in ICT isn't just about the guys wearing the preparer hats and doing the coding, all those sorts of things. They are important skills that we need, absolutely. But it's all the other skills that we need as well. All right, so really the conversation that I want to have tonight with our panellists focuses on those type of questions. What types of conversations can you have as parents with your students? But then more importantly, what types of questions would students have of us in terms of trying to work out how to take that next step? AJ made a really, really good point. Just make a start, right? How do you make that start? Well, they're the types of things I'm going to pose to the panel tonight. So yeah, if we can invite the panellists up, that'd be great. Grab a seat, guys. I feel like I don't need to introduce you because we've already done that. Although we haven't introduced Michael Lucic. So Michael, do you want to quickly just introduce yourself?
Thanks, Dan, and equally thank you all for taking the time to set this up, guys. This is and girls. This is really, really good, and Stan said this is very important. I'm on the board of the SA Skills Commission, and I've got a couple of other boards that I'm on as well. But my career journey is very similar to Dan's and Isaac's. My parents couldn't afford to send me to university, which I wanted to do. I wanted to be a dentist, and so I just did an apprenticeship. Very simple. And the apprenticeship was in electronics with the Department of Defence. And I was shit scared going in there, honestly. I didn't expect it, but I was fortunate within that apprenticeship that I did. I did 3 months of fitting and turning, 3 months of electrical, 3 months of carpentry, 3 months of sheet metal, and 3 months of welding. So in between all that, we did electronics for 4 years. I got paid, whereas other people that were with me at high school, because I finished, I went to Woodville High School, by the way, and they went straight into uni. They got a HECS debt, and that HECS debt had to pay off themselves. So that's just an initial start of my journey, so I hope that helps.
Thanks, Michael. It does, and certainly from my perspective, I made my career start straight out of school managing hotels. All right, so I went into hospitality. Decided after I think about 10 years in hospitality that I got sick of working till 4 o'clock in the morning in those types of hours and was just looking for a 9 to 5 job. All right. To AJ's point, I took a punt, made a really risk-based decision to say, okay, well, how do I get into that? A traineeship for me was the immediate opportunity that I could see to start and to make that start. And then 25 years later, I look after the biggest ICT shop in the state. All right, so it's taking that step is the message we want you to take away tonight, is making sure that, you know, if you feel comfortable to take that step, try something new. Which I might sort of jump back to Isaac then, all right, in terms of your journey, and I was really reflecting on you know, the presentation you made. That transition from high school into a traineeship, all right, can you explain a bit more to us around, you know, what led to that? So you said there was certainly the, you know, lack of interest, I guess, in going to university, but were there other factors that sort of led you to that decision?
Yeah, so I definitely knew I didn't want to study. I did do the Cert 4 alongside the traineeship. So I do have a Cert 4, I don't have a uni degree or anything like that, nothing fancy. And so I was placed, I did a traineeship for 4 days a week at an agency and then 1 day a week at TAFE, and it was quite smooth running. I think I just attended TAFE online, it was quite easy, and then I did that over 2 years and then got that cert and then was able, you know, to get my foot straight in the door after that. What led to that was, again, going back to what I was saying about feeling quite aimless after leaving school, it was honestly a risk taking that traineeship. That's what it felt like at the moment, but looking back at it now, I don't see any risk at it because there's so much reward that came from it. So in the moment, it felt like a massive risk to go straight into a 9 to 5 corporate office, and it seems quite scary. But looking back now, there was absolutely no risk. Like I'm reaping the rewards that came from that decision. So yeah, does that answer it? Or?
It does. Yeah, thanks, mate.
And being paid to study as well, I guess, is a bit of a bonus as well.
Not a lot. But
Yeah. so once again, the point there's pathways, all right, and it doesn't necessarily need to go through any. None of us here, maybe Razika, you went to university, but that was for your education pathway that you took initially.
I also started in food and hospitality, working in the bars at the casino. Didn't have the luxury of having a traineeship and being paid, so I was working nights at the casino and studying. So I think irrespective of what you're doing, it's going to be hard. There's no two ways about it, but if you feel passionate about it, you feel like you're in the right place, just trust that, I think.
And as the only female panellist as well, what is really important for us moving forward is we need more women working in the ICT industry and cyber industries, all right? And certainly from my perspective, the breadth of skills that I think and you know, the types of skills that we require in the ICT industry are significant. Technical, yes, we need technical people, but we need people to be able to have conversations like we're having now, to be able to take us through training, as we saw Razika and Michelle do, to look at designing solutions to meet requirements which require and are based on having a conversation with customers. So this whole idea of communication, this whole idea of really understanding people and understanding their requirements is often at the heart of what we do in ICT. So AJ, I might sort of then throw a question to you, just regarding, and thank you so much for your presentation, mate. Some really mind-boggling stats that are within that. Let's have a chat about the technical skills then, all right? Because I'm often asked, and we had this other day, didn't we, Michael, where there were students sort of asking this idea, okay, well, if I do coding, where's that going to get me, all right? And once again, the point I want you to leave with tonight is not just about those really silly technical skills. So maybe within your organisation, mate, you took us through briefly a slide that sort of mentioned some of those other type of roles, but are there other roles that you highly value within Fortinet that aren't necessarily about those really senior technical roles?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the opportunity and how you can start off, we've been talking about, find a start, find your passion. We've certainly seen people within the organisation that have started, probably more on the high level sort of architecture, sort of understanding some of those technical aspects, but now they're, as one example, who we had down to present to the government back in May, was now the senior threat hunter. Did he ever think he was going to be a threat hunter? Probably not. But he made a start, and over the years sort of changed around. So the roles that are, every role is important. That's the that's the hardest part. The ones that I would, if I reflect and look at what we do here in South Australia, actually one thing, if I take a step back, if you get into cybersecurity, it can be a global role. You don't have to work in an office. You could be working from home, you could be working wherever you may be, but it does open opportunities. So you can move with the company, you could apply for roles globally. Parents might not want you to leave home, but there could be that opportunity to actually work globally. So it is a global workforce, and there's a ton of opportunity. So within the cybersecurity realm, there is many areas that you can get involved in. I think, from the starting out perspective, it's more about understanding cybersecurity, understanding the threats, and trying to keep up with, what is happening in the environment. So hence, some of those sort of stats that we put up there, there are courses, and there are also, blog posts that you can, subscribe to and so forth, just to get the latest information in regards to what's happening. Because what we find most important is people that will continuous learning. Don't think that just because you're leaving school and maybe go to TAFE and uni, that you're not going to stop learning after that. Every day is a learning opportunity, and there's plenty to learn. But by continuously learning and sort of staying at the forefront, they're the skills and the people that are driven to actually look at, some of these new threats. What does it mean? Get excited about actually helping to protect environments in that essence. But yeah, every role is important. It's like I said, it's collaboration. It takes a village. So not one person can actually stop a threat. Realistically, the teams are large. There's many people that are involved in a team. So I'd say every role is important, but just find that start. I know that didn't quite answer it.
No, it did though, and I think you've hit the nail on the head in terms of one of the opportunities we've got that is specific to the ICT industry and cyber industry is that things are constantly changing and evolving, all right? So the ability to be in a career where you can pivot, where you can look at different opportunities, but at the same time that you can absolutely self-teach or be exposed to so many different areas. That's what we value, is that sort of flexibility and just having that mindset that, okay, well, things might change tomorrow, so how do I try to stay in front of that? How do I forward think? How do I plan for that? And certainly the team aspect that comes along with working in those environments is really quite significant. So look, you've got a really unique sort of problem to solve at the moment on behalf of the whole state, haven't you, Michael, in terms of trying to build now a workforce or attract a workforce to support some of government's big initiatives, like think AUKUS, think about, not just the cyber industry, but our defence industry and those sorts of things as well. So from your perspective, mate, and with your role in, on the board for the commission, what does that look like for you, and what sort of message would you like to leave, in particular the students that we've got with us today, about trying to prep for that and build awareness around some of those opportunities, and what sort of advice would you give them?
This is a great opportunity for everyone, all the kids that are coming, all the students that are coming through. We've never had this opportunity. I've been in this industry for over 40 years, right? And I've never seen it or experienced this opportunity, especially in cyber and IT and ICT. So take a chance. Just get into a Cert 3, get into a Cert 4. And then, you've got credentialised stuff with Fortinet. Look, Dan will just take you. He'll put.
Where can I sign you up?
Yeah. And you can start learning it. And it's events like tonight. We advocate for this, and that we make it important for you to, and give you the courage to do it. That's what AJ is saying. Just get out there. Look, Isaac's taken a punt. I've taken a punt. So I think we're all in the same sort of category. We worked part-time at nights and all that, and educated ourselves, and away we go. So it is the only opportunity we're going to have in this next 10 years to be able to do it. You can get into a job now, start some studies, do a Cert 3 or Cert 4 in cyber or IT, and then start earning some money, and by the time your mates are in second year uni, you're already qualified, and you virtually will get into a job. It's that good. It's such a big opportunity, despite the fact that we're going to be down by about, I think, 10,000 people in terms of skill sets. But that's not just in IT. It's GPs, it's plumbers, it's a whole trade thing. But so we're doing other things as well. On the other side of the spectrum, where people have been working in this field and they are in their sort of 40s and 50s without a ticket, without a certificate, we are allowing them to come in and work for a registered training organisation for a period of 6 months, and then they will get a micro credential. Okay, so we're trying to get people who haven't gone to a trade school, haven't gone to a traineeship or a vet. So that's another opportunity for people who are mature aged can come in as well. Unfortunately, we have to go overseas. We got Philippines, delegation went to Philippines a couple of months ago. But that's more in the hospitality side, and because the hospitality side is, with all honesty, it's pretty fickle. You can start as an apprentice chef, and then within 3 months you realise that it's just you're doing bacon and eggs and doing toasts, and you can earn 120 grand by just stepping out and helping someone else and not going through a proper trade. You don't need much certification there, but to do it, to be a sparky, to be an electrician, a fitter and turner, or a plumber, or a cyber person or something like that, you need to understand some processes. So the Commission is doing quite a bit. We've contemporised, we've modernised the Cert 3s and Cert 4s to suit the situation these days for this era that we're going through, and we're doing a lot of this. Dan was kind enough to tell his story to about 200 students a couple of weeks ago, and to give people the courage, to give students the courage to not worry about having to go to university. We don't have to.
Brilliant, thanks, mate. And I think we're a microcosm, really, of the problem that state government is trying to solve. This is not government's issue only, all right? This is about industry. This is about, understanding what the emerging requirements are of the state, and then trying to sort of look at what opportunities can we build now. So, those opportunities that Michael has raised, right, are here now. This is not waiting, we're not waiting, we need to get cracking now. So if you have or are thinking or wanting to sort of take that first step and want more information, please send it out to any of us on the panel. We'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you individually. Got a couple of minutes left, so I think I might just give you one last opportunity, Rosika, and I know because this is close to our heart at the moment. The department's doing a lot of work around artificial intelligence, all right? And the role that artificial intelligence can play in not only helping to reduce administrative burden for our educators, but also what role does it play for students, all right? Because I think the immediate reaction a parent would have is, hey, are they going to use it to cheat? So I guess the question I want to sort of pose to you, and maybe Isaac, you can step into this as well, you know, given your role for the whole of government IT offering, what role do you see AI playing as we consider future jobs, right? And what do we need to do in the education setting to try and support how quickly this is moving?
Well, that's an easy one. Not really. That's a very big question. I think just taking a step back, it's really important to be mindful and not fear AI, I think. We're doing a lot of work in education department with EdChat and helping our students to learn how to use it with the safeguard rails in place. There is a lot of rhetoric out there about AI taking jobs and making things quicker, but I think AI is actually run by humans. It's, you know, the data, the information, the way it's created, that's done by humans. So when people are talking about, oh, AI is going to take over humanity and AI is going to take over jobs, there's always going to be people that need humanity and empathy and people that need compassion. So I don't think AI is actually going to take over because we still need humanity. I'm not sure if that answered your question because that's a big question.
It does. What about from a whole of government perspective, Isaac?
Yeah, tough question. Cybersecurity is the commitment to a better future, and there is a better future with AI. There's also a worse future without AI, and working in cybersecurity is a commitment to seeing that future as a better future for everyone with AI. People that work in cybersecurity aren't trying to get rid of AI, they're trying to build with it and build a safer and better future for everyone to be able to work with AI to have a better future. Does that answer it? Hopefully.
It does. You did well, and I'll put you on the spot with that one, so you can thank me later. So look, I think we are now out of time. Yep, I'm getting the wrap up. So look, can you please join me in thanking our panellists? Please give them a clap. And once again, just as a parting note, all right, that we've taken you through a lot of information tonight. I can see everyone, you know, digesting that and thinking on it. This is not a one-off conversation. If you want to have a secondary conversation, please, through the school, and thank you, Nikki, for having us here tonight. Please feel free to reach out. We'll leave our details with the kids who've organised the event, so that way you can have a conversation with us if you choose to do that. All right. But once again, thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate the invitation, and hopefully you've taken something from the event.
Thank you, Dan, for the informative panel discussion. Closing in on our event, it is my privilege to introduce our last guest speaker, Michael Lucic. Michael Lucic is a very highly experienced and accomplished board director who has led many people as an executive leader and continues to do so today. Michael has over 38 years of domestic, national, and international experience, executive leadership, and commercial experience. Fun fact about Michael is that he used to run all of Optus and Telstra down in Western Australia. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now let's give a heartfelt welcome to Michael Lucic to come up and give us a short speech.
I've got to commend you guys. When this power went out on the thing, it already transitioned smoothly to get it back up again. So well done, guys. There we go. These are the slides we didn't see. Is that right? Okay. All right. What I'm going to quickly do, and I'm just conscious of time as well. I just want to, in conclusion for the evening, just reiterate to what AJ and Razika and Dan and Michelle have said. The importance of studying AI and why. In terms of South Australian skills shortage, it's a real opportunity. I'll give you a quick example. The types of security roles, cybersecurity, AJ listed a whole bunch of them, and they're really good. I've put another twist on it. Then I've also done a day in the life of a cyber analyst, okay? And then what to study without, why study cyber without going to uni, and how you can do it. There's enough courses around for doing that. AJ's mentioned a couple, but there's also some in TAFE as well. And then seven security essentials for companies and organisations, a bunch of thank yous, and then the call to action for the parents and also the students, right? So there's an enormous opportunity in front of us in terms of the situation, as we just said there a while ago. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. It is an in-demand career. You can read it on the screen there. And I think, importantly, just do it. Just do it. Isaac just did it. He just took a chance. And look where it's got him today, you know. And there's numerous of pathways without having to study, going to university study. And what it does, it gives you an opportunity to go into many different industries. Every major corporation, every small business in years to come will require a cybersecurity analyst of some nature. You like that? The importance of studying it and why. And I think enough of us have said that you can see the stats there. 64% of businesses surveyed in 2024, just last year, said they needed cybersecurity skills, and it's up 33% since 2023. So in terms of Dan's question to me about the workforce, we must grow this workforce by 66% to 85,000. That's in Australia. And then the stats, what AusCyber is doing, these are critical facts. I'll leave this presentation with Joshua so you can share it with the students here. The importance, the consequences of not doing cyber is increased vulnerability. I think we all understand that. The economic impact on businesses. I worked through something with Optus, and I was at Optus, and that cyber hack happened, and it hurt. It damn well hurt. We had to give up $1 million to, I was at Optus at that point, to the education department because we had to print out new driver's licenses. And it was a very simple error. Someone left a sandpit open, they got in, and they went through. Luckily, it was picked up within 7 minutes. So, and Optus used Fortinet as well nationally, so I don't know now, but. So that's the economic impact that hurt us. And then there's other impacts, other companies, you know, who was the other one, Dan? Soon after us, it was Medicare, wasn't it? Yeah, and there's a number of others that got hacked. The potential risk to critical infrastructure, that's key as well. And what's the SA Commission doing? We're doing things like this, exactly like this now. And what we've done with Thomas Nowak, with the Education Department, we've got to work collaboratively because the cyber people work very well together. They are mates. They've got their own university. And, you know, AJ put up the slide there, how they work. Everybody's got a role, just like in any other corporation, everybody's got a role. So it's up to us to address this gap, and we can do it, but we've got to work together. In South Australia, there's more demand than we've got schools, and it's events like this to get your interest to come in and step in and do it. The future is positive. We've got to collaborate. It's dynamic. It's a dynamic landscape to work in, and I can only urge you to get in and be part of it. these are some other roles that sort of I've picked up as well over the years in that whole landscape of cybersecurity roles, in addition to what AJ's put up. I think these roles also work well. A day in the life of a cyber analyst. He gets to defend the front line. You know, you've got to be proud when you catch a cyber attacker, catch a hacker. It is one of the most. It's like winning, isn't it? And it's so good. And you get that responsibility effect of monitoring incidents and being a bit of a forensic person, being a bit of a sleuth as well. It's quite exciting. Very quickly, Cert 3, Cert 4 was mentioned a few times. Don't forget IT is also very important. These are the courses. They're in the handbook. All the handbooks are out there, are they, Thomas? Yep. Okay. These are very good to have in the back of your mind. They call them 8 security essentials. I've put them back to 7. You can read that up. That's pretty well. But also, I think one of the most important things here is apply the need to know principle. If you think something doesn't look right, it's probably not right. Quickly, thank you. Thank you to the students who were part of this. Thank you to the parents who came tonight, and hope you've learnt something from this. Thomas Nowak, I've worked with Thomas for a couple of years now. I'm trying to get some of these events rolling. Thomas, you know, the energy that you bring to this is great, and supported ably and sort of so well by Josh Earl. Josh, thank you as well. So just a fabulous initiative to do this. So it's better for a smaller group as well. Dan, chairing this evening's events, thank you very much. That journey is so pulling beer at the bar when you're starting, and look where you are today. It's great. And this evening's speaker, AJ from Fortinet, Razika and Michelle, Isaac. It's great here. Good stories to hear that, and I think the more we share it, the better. The whole of the Martin College student team, just a fabulous effort. I think we have to do a photograph. When do we do that, guys? Now, okay, one more slide. Now-ish. We need you. And thank you. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday you said tomorrow, make your dreams come true. There you go. So, photo time?
Yeah, we can do, sure.
Okay.
Do you want to get all the Martin students?
On students, yeah. What do you want? Over there somewhere, or?
Yeah.
Who's the photographer?
Yeah, we might get industry up there as well, get the panelists as well.
Do the students first. Okay.
Concludes our CyberShift Expo. Thank you for joining us, whether it's in person or online. We hope you enjoyed this evening and learned something new about cybersecurity. Also, a big thanks to our speakers and special guests for their valuable insights. Before you go, feel free to grab some snacks, and don't forget to scan the QR code to leave us your feedback. It really helps us improve. You're also welcome to chat with any of our guests before you leave. Thanks again, and good night.